Good evening. Fun times, let me tell you. I know I'm about ready for the end of the news week for us. Man, it's just been kind of a stupid week with news. So, gonna cover I believe right before the end of the show last night, I said something about a shooting, or maybe it was at the beginning of the show. I thought I did. Or maybe it was after the show that it happened. I don't know. But I'm going to give an update to that, which you may have already heard by now. But there's just other various things I've got here. I'm probably going to start. I got to thinking about it. I'm probably actually going to start tonight. I'm going to try running. I'm going to run that the refrigerator through a cycle with that power bank, that EcoFlow Delta. It did come in today, and I'm gonna go ahead and plug in the fridge, see how it does overnight, and then in the morning before the sun gets up too high, I will get the panels put out there, and we'll see how it keeps up throughout the day. And that's the name of the game, to see how it keeps up throughout the day. And I'm going to run it for an entire 24-hour, or maybe even a little longer, whatever, cycle. And then after I do that, the whole point of it is to give you folks a video showing you what you can expect. Both in the, line of your input, your solar input, in what I call not ideal situations, what I call realistic situations. Because there's a lot of times when you look at products and stuff that everything is rated at absolutely perfectly ideal conditions. So we're gonna give it the old real world test, and I don't think it's gonna have any problem. I really don't think it's gonna have any issue at all. But anyway, we're gonna make a video of that. And other than that, I've got some tabs open here to talk about some various stuff. Figured make it kind of an easy night, and hopefully news don't get too stupid tomorrow, which, I mean, it is Friday, so we don't all know how that goes. Let me go ahead and get switched over here. Our child has been testy today. Let's see. There we go. This was what happened last night. I was just going to give an update for those that may not have heard any updates or may not have heard of it at all. So, U.S. hospital hit by deadly shooting. Says here, a gunman murdered 4 staffers at a hospital building in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Wednesday before taking his own life, police say. The tragedy occurred mere weeks after the deadly mass shootings in Texas and New York. Police said the shooter, armed with a rifle and a handgun, opened fire on the second floor of the Natalie building of St. Francis Hospital, killing 4 people. The St. Francis Health System, which runs the clinic, confirmed the death of 4 of its staffers. Tulsa Police Department Deputy Chief Eric Dangleish told reporters that officers were alerted to an active shooter at around 5 p.m. and arrived at the scene within 4 minutes. He said the shooter died by suicide. No details have been released so far about the suspect's identity. And there may be updates to all this, so it's hard to say. Tulsa Police Department Captain Richard Muhlenberg later told CNN that several people were wounded by gunfire. What happened today in Tulsa is a senseless act of violence and hatred, Governor Kevin Stitt said, offering condolences to the victims' families and thanking Tulsa police for their actions. The White House released a short statement saying that President Joe Biden has been briefed on the tragedy. And then the rest goes into the other shootings and I did listen to Biden speak earlier, and he can bite me. What else can I say? What else can I say? He essentially wants to reinstate the assault weapons ban or whatever from back in the 90s, or 94, I think. And just stupidity. Just absolute stupidity, as usual. The problem is we have a government that is rogue and doing whatever the hell that they want to do, regardless. He's shown that he doesn't care. He's ignored the Supreme Court. He's ignored Congress. He's ignored anybody and everybody and just done whatever the establishment wants him to do. And that's his job. That's why he's there. So, yeah, I mean, we need to get to the bottom of this stuff. Now, I thought I saw or heard something earlier to where this guy was a patient, and it was, I don't know, something maybe to do with back pain or something. I'm not sure, but it seems like I saw a different headline from maybe AP or something like that that was a bit more updated than this. So, anyway, I wanted to cover it. They actually got this story out kind of late. They put it out kind of late themselves, and I didn't honestly read through it, and I didn't realize the lack of details that it had in it, because I'm pretty sure the other outlets have released a name and whatnot. So, let's see. This I thought was extremely important. I mean, we're talking fighting words there. Chinese military pilots flip off Canadian aircraft, says a report. I actually thought this was pretty hilarious. Chinese military pilots have reportedly been flipping the bird at their Canadian colleagues midair in what Ottawa labeled unprofessional behavior during a North Korea patrol mission. Beijing jets were frequently flying as close as 20 to 100 feet from a Canadian plane. Canada's Global News reported on Wednesday, citing sources familiar with the matter. The sources said Canadian pilots could make eye contact with their Chinese counterparts and sometimes saw them raising their middle fingers. The alleged gestures occurred during Operation Neon, Canada's air mission to enforce international sanctions on North Korea. And in here they go and acting like a bunch of posers, eh? The Canadian Armed Forces released a statement on Wednesday accusing Chinese planes of flying dangerously close to the Canada's CP-140 Aurora naval patrol aircraft. The People's Liberation Army Air Force pilots did not adhere to international air safety norms, the statement said. Sorry, it's funny that they're flipping them off. These interactions are unprofessional and or put the safety of our personnel at risk. I'd be laughing my ass off. It'd be hard to control the plane. In some instances, the Royal Canadian Air Force aircrew felt sufficiently at risk that they had to quickly modify their own flight path in order to increase separation and avoid a potential collision with the intercepting aircraft. Some Chinese pilots were very clearly visible during their attempts to divert our patrol aircraft from their flight path, the Canadian Armed Forces said. Beijing has not responded to Canada's claims, but has previously accused the U.S., Ottawa's NATO ally, of stoking military tensions in East Asia. So it says in February, Australia reported that a Chinese warship put Australian crews at risk by pointing a military-grade laser at the country's patrol aircraft A month later, Beijing accused an Australian spy plane of flying in an unprofessional manner close to a Chinese naval vessel. So, a bunch of wow-wows going on, and that's pretty funny, though. You flying up close enough, they can see you flipping them off. I like to fly like an idiot in the simulator, so I can respect that. Alright, and I'm sure you've heard this a couple of dozen times by now today. U.S. facing economic hurricane, says J.P. Morgan. Been saying it for a while. Been saying it. We'll see what it says here. The boss of Wall Street giant J.P. Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, has warned investors that the U.S. is facing an economic hurricane as the latest challenges posed by the Fed's tightening monetary policy and the Ukraine-related crisis are unprecedented. That hurricane is right out there down the road coming our way, Dimon said, speaking at a conference sponsored by AllianceBernstein Holdings on Wednesday. We don't know if it's a minor one or Superstorm Sandy. You better brace yourself, the CEO said, adding that it's too soon to say how intense the storm would be. According to the head of the nation's biggest bank, U.S. consumers still have some 6 to 9 months of spending power left in their bank accounts. Dimon stressed that the government's pandemic stimulus is still padding consumers' wallets. What? Remember that. You guys still have fat wallets from the stimulus. So, it says it right there. The fiscal stimulation is still in the pocketbooks of consumers. Are you kidding me? They are spending it, he said. Dude. Dimon also expressed concern about the conflict in Ukraine and the impact it would have on global prices for crude oil, which could eventually spike up to $175 per barrel. Wars go bad, they go south, they have unintended consequences, he said, adding that the conflict is expected to further roil commodity markets across the globe, impacting the prices of oil, gas, and wheat. The top banker also expressed concerns that the U.S. Federal Reserve is starting to unwind its bond portfolio, a process known as quantitative tightening, at the same time as it is raising interest rates. We have never had QT like this, so you're looking at something you could be writing in history books on for 50 years, Dimon said. They do not have a choice because there's so much liquidity in the system. They have to remove some of the liquidity to stop the speculation, reduce home prices, and stuff like that. Pardon me. So, just kind of to give you a heads up on that. Now, if that isn't bad enough to add to the woes of all of this stuff, especially with the supply chains and everything else, Russia is restricting the export of gas critical to chip production. So we were already having a chip production issue. They couldn't keep up. We can't get the chips. Not fast enough. And now they're going to probably have to be making even less chips. Not good, Tater. Says Russia has restricted the export of noble gases, including neon, in an apparent tit-for-tat response to the fifth round of sanctions imposed by the EU in April. The government decree, published on Tuesday, states that through December 31st of this year, the export of Noble and others will be subject to government approval based on the recommendation of the Ministry of Industry and Trade. Noble or inert gases such as neon, argon, xenon, and others are crucial to the semiconductor manufacturing process, Semiconductors are used to make the microchips needed for gadgets, cars, and household appliances. In April, the EU banned exports of semiconductors, machinery, and other equipment worth 10 billion euros to Russia as part of the fifth package of sanctions, according to the newspaper Izvestia, citing its sources in the government. Moscow wants to remind so-called unfriendly countries that they also depend on Russian exports when it comes to semiconductor manufacturing. Russia supplies up to 30% of neon consumed globally, Izvestia said. There has been a global shortage of semiconductors since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, which is due to supply chain issues and temporary halts in production. The conflict in Ukraine has further exacerbated the problem. Ukraine, a major neon exporter, has stopped supplying the gas to the global market, sending prices skyrocketing. China and Japan are other major manufacturers of noble gases, but their supplies are mainly consumed domestically. But, that's just going to add to cost. It's going to add to the scarcity. I mean, it's insane. I don't know that we're ever going to gain any ground, if you will, when it comes to consumer goods and whatnot. I really do think that we are going off the cliff. At least this cliff. I'm not, I don't know what that's going to look like. I have no idea. I have no idea how high this cliff is. No clue. Expecting me to be able to give a good analysis on that is it would be like expecting me to do open heart surgery, because I really don't understand how all the markets work and all that. And I mean, in the end, in my opinion, it's just a game. In the end, I mean, if we were really doing things by the numbers, right, we'd have been out of it in a long time ago, right? If the monopoly board truly was limited on the money that it had, we'd have been done a long time ago. So they just kept kicking the can down the road, printing more money, doing this, that, and the other one, bailing out their buddies, and they've just been bleeding us dry, right? Many of you may have been pretty dry for most of your life. Maybe not. Maybe you've lived good times, and I think there's people from all walks right now that are getting the hell squeezed out of them. And I think that's the intention. I think the intention was to get rid of what was left of the middle class, which, believe it or not, wasn't that much to begin with. I don't think. And boy, COVID came and they just wiped that out, just right out. And the only ones I think that really are middle class for the most part now are people that are working for other people. And that's a limited time thing, because as everything else winds down, less people are going to be need to be employed or whatever to do those tasks, whatever jobs they may work. The people that are still hanging on right now is what I'm referring to. It's a cascading effect. And I don't think that prices are... I did shopping today. Did our online shopping order for pickup thing. And it was... it was insane. I actually had to keep putting different stuff back so that I could make it work. I mean, it has reached that level. Now, don't get me wrong, we got some goodies there too, but not a lot of it, But there are some serious meals that I didn't even purchase because I think we got enough left over, from like last month. I think we can get by with what we have here. As far as I've got different menus, you know what I mean. Everybody, I guess, does. I don't know. I'm a lame cook, though. But nonetheless, I'll really cut back on what it is that I would normally get. And we would even normally buy, more sugar than we needed, more coffee than we needed, and all that. I didn't do any of that. No, I didn't even get any sugar. So crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And then gas, I guess I'll speak to that real quick. Gas here is now over $5. Even the cheapest gas station is over $5 a gallon. So that's notable. Man, I don't think it's going to get any better. I do think we're going to see gas at $7-8. I know some people are saying 10, and I'm not going to say that's not possible. But I'm pretty confident about 7, possibly 8. It's crazy. It's crazy. Don't know what people are going to do. U.S. is going to sell Ukraine combat drones, says Reuters. Now, get this. The drones, by the way, it says the White House plans to sell Kiev 4 MQ-1C Gray Eagle combat drones. Reuters reported on Wednesday, citing 3 people familiar with the matter. U.S. President Joe Biden intends to notify Congress of the potential sale in the coming days, the report said. The Gray Eagle is the U.S. Army's newer version of the MQ-1 Predator attack drone, which has been widely used for airstrikes in the Middle East. The unmanned aircraft can fly up to 40-plus hours and be equipped with up to 8 Hellfire missiles. According to Reuters, the sale could be blocked by Congress or canceled by the White House. The plan has been under review at the Pentagon for several weeks, the report said. A White House spokesperson referred Reuters' request for comment to the Pentagon, whose spokesperson told the news agency that there was nothing to announce. Last month, Biden authorized $40 billion worth of military and other aid to Ukraine amid Russia's military campaign against the neighboring country. And then goes on to talk more about the other stuff. But, at first they were saying, well, we're not going to let them have anything that they could use to attack Russia with. Now they're giving them drones? Okay. Well, again, the United States isn't the only one that's kicking into the Ukrainian pot of weaponry. And Sweden, here's some anti-ship missiles, right? I mean, can you believe this stuff? It's like they're borrowing a cup of sugar or something, Sweden is set to supply Ukraine with anti-ship missiles, small arms, and light anti-tank weapons while providing additional financial assistance to Kiev as the conflict rages in the country, top government officials announced on Thursday. What I want to know is who is going to supply the American patriots when they try to defend the Constitution? Asking for a friend? Says this help could buttress this help could buttress Ukraine's defense potential, which is now in a serious situation. Well, yeah, if you're saying something about butts. Supporting Ukraine is a matter of solidarity and quite important for Sweden's security, Swedish Finance Minister Mikael Damberg said at a joint press conference with Swedish Defense Minister Peter Hultqvist. According to Hultqvist, Ukraine has been asking for political, financial, and military support to boost its defense capabilities and fend off Russian forces for a long time. In February, Stockholm accommodated this request, sending military supplies that included 5,000 anti-tank weapons, helmets, and body armor. Again, where's ours? The new package, however, will include not only semi-automatic rifles, Barrett M82 with ammunition and another 5,000 anti-tank weapons, but also anti-ship missiles, Robot 17, a weapon that Kiev specifically requested, Holtquist said. The government has proposed that Sweden assist Ukraine with Robot 17, automatic rifles, Barrett M82 with ammunition, another 5,000 anti-tank weapons, and additional financial means that will go to the fund that NATO has established in support of Ukraine's armed forces, he added. Anti-ship missiles are something that Ukraine has specifically asked for. Robot 17 is a very capable system that will help to boost Ukraine's ability to fight back against Russia's illegal, unprovoked invasion. Meanwhile, Mikhail Domberg pointed out that the crisis in Ukraine remained very serious. Therefore, the Swedish finance minister has announced a package of economic assistance totaling 578 million krona, or $59 million, which will be received by the Ukrainian Central Bank. Another 6.1 million is proposed to be sent to the fund established by NATO. Swedish government also intends to funnel more than $10 million into Ukraine's civil sector. This may cover firefighting equipment, vehicles, tents, and medical equipment, Domberg said. Yeah, I'll take some of all of that. We'll figure out a place to put it. Well, no, scratch that. No, give me a place to put it, too. An old abandoned missile base, that'll work. Oh, let's see. It's crazy. So everybody's throwing in, and it's only a matter of time. It really is only a matter of time before it's just all out. I really think, I think what's going to happen, if nothing else, what's going to happen is maybe Ukraine's going to get one in that hurts, that like really hurts, and then Russia's going to get serious. Because let's be real, let's be honest. If Russia could have kicked the hell out of Ukraine a long time ago, it's Russia. They're like one of the superpowers. Ukraine don't have what Russia has. And, you know, I think, here's the thing. I think that Putin knows that if he's going to have any chance at remotely, you know, not getting the entire world to hate him, he has to be realistic in his fight. Okay? He can't just go in there and just wiping the hell out of everybody. Even though he's got the capability, if he does that, he won't have anybody's support. Nobody's support. If he goes in like a madman. I mean, come on. But as long as he invades diplomatically, so to speak, and of course, you know, there's a military element to it, but I mean, as long as he's not just, you know, going in and just wiping everything out just to take over, I don't know. I think it's going to take something big from Ukraine, and I think, or it might even be an attack from outside of Ukraine. Maybe there could be a battlefield in Ukraine and missiles or something launched from one of the other nations right there. What, I guess Poland's one of them, and you know, missiles launched from one of those countries. I don't know if they've done that yet or not. So, but if they do, I'm sure that will be considered an act of war. So that's all it's going to take. And then once that first domino goes, once that first NATO country gets involved, that's all she wrote. China should be able to shoot down Musk's Starlink, says scientist. I thought this was just insane when I saw this headline. Chinese military researchers say that China needs to develop the capability to disable or shoot down Elon Musk's Starlink satellites should Beijing deem it necessary, the Daily Mail reported last week, citing a Chinese study. According to a paper that was published in the Modern Defense Technology Journal, China needs to boost its anti-satellite capabilities in order to track, monitor, and, if necessary, destroy Starlink satellites orbiting the Earth. The study was led by Ren Wanzhen, a researcher with the Beijing Institute of Tracking and Telecommunications under the People's Liberation Army Strategic Support Force. A combination of soft and hard kill methods should be adopted to make some Starlink satellites lose their functions and destroy the constellation's operating system, the paper said. Starlink, a satellite constellation system operated by Elon Musk's SpaceX, includes at least 2,400 satellite relays in low Earth orbit that can facilitate broadband access to information. Although it can provide internet to developing countries, the satellites could also be used by the military, a reality Beijing is aware of. Starlink has already been battle-tested in the Ukraine conflict, where it has been used by the Ukrainian armed forces for artillery strikes and reconnaissance. According to Ren's team, via a Starlink connection, U.S. military drones and fighter jets could augment their data transfer 100-fold, which might make the system a potential threat to Chinese national security. Ren believes that China needs to expand its satellite killing capabilities to be able to effectively hit Starlink as a whole. The Starlink constellation constitutes a decentralized system. The confrontation is not about individual satellites, but the whole system. This requires some low-cost, high-efficiency measures, the researchers said, without providing details on the methods of attack, probably lasers. SpaceX previously has signed an agreement with the Pentagon to develop new technology based on the Starlink platform in order to detect and track hypersonic weapons. In mid-January, the company also won a contract to transport military supplies and humanitarian aid around the world using a rocket. So, So that's not really a good escalation. Almost like they're telling you what they're gonna do. I thought this was a bit of a crazy story. Former Lindbergh High School teacher accused of sexual contact with student. Now this is in the St. Louis area. But let me read it, shall I? A former Lindbergh High School teacher was charged Thursday with having sexual contact with a student, and police believe there may be more victims. Grant Gomer, 37, also faces 2 counts of statutory sodomy in the second degree. Police said Gomer made sexual contact with a student under the age of 17 earlier this year, between March 1st and March 31st, while still a teacher at Lindbergh High School. This is where it gets messed up. Gomer had been a teacher at the high school for 8 years. He was also the assistant water polo coach and the teacher liaison to the Gay Straight Alliance group at the school. Amid the investigation, the district confirmed he no longer works there. Yeah, let's just blaze past that. Huh. Really? So let me get this straight. Maybe that was a bad choice of words. Let me get this correct. You don't see, and I'm not asking the choir here, but you don't see a problem with with any. I don't think this stuff belongs in schools at all. At all. These conversations don't need to be done with strangers, with teachers, with counselors in school. I'm sorry, they don't. If these conversations need to be had, they need to be had at home with their parents. Well, the parents may not support. Well, there might be a damn good reason the parents aren't supporting them. It's time we knock off the lunacy. What do you, and again, I'm speaking to the choir here. I'm not asking you folks listening, I know. But what did they expect? What do you expect? When you put somebody who is obviously, clearly, sexually immoral to begin with around children, what in the hell do you expect? I don't get it. Parents need get their kids out of public schools. That's all I can say. That's number one. If you want to fight for the schools, that's another thing, but there's a lot of damage being done right now. Crazy. Anyway, let me end the craziness. Run through the headlines here and Okay, covered that. Denmark to join EU security bloc. U.S. Cyber Agency finds vulnerabilities in voting machines, says the media. And I know some people might be asking, well, why didn't you bring that story up and talk about? Well, that story is the reason why I didn't bring that story up to talk about, because even saying the headline is risky enough. Boris Johnson reveals whether he intends to remain in power. U.S. hospital hit... Oh, covered that. Or talked about that. British and Dutch step up hunt to replace Russian gas. OPEC may exempt Russia from oil output quotas. NATO to name its primary threat. EU government wants to cut off aid to Ukrainian refugees. Kremlin comments on relations with Washington. Report details shocking discrimination against Russians abroad. U.S. seeks to arm Ukraine with weapons the U.S. won't... UK, I think I screwed that up. UK seeks to arm Ukraine with weapons U.S. won't send. Turkey doesn't want to be Turkey anymore. I don't know. They might want to be a ham. I have no idea. I don't care what they want to identify as. Leave me out of it. Ukraine sacrifices foreigners first, says Moscow. Let's see. U.S. may benefit from EU embargo of Russian oil, Biden hints. Well, Biden doesn't know what he's talking about. He don't know what day it is. EU state skirts gas for ruble requirements. Ukraine to get howitzers from neighbor. I mean, come on. We all need neighbors that will give us howitzers, right? This is crazy. Biden administration split over Russia sanctions, says Bloomberg. Indian woman set to marry herself. French diplomats go on strike. Biden admits underestimating baby formula crisis. Kremlin responds to Biden's comments on oil. Oil pressure rising for Saudi Arabia, says FT. EU agrees new anti-Russia sanctions. Britain and U.S. reportedly pressure NATO hopefuls. UN calls on G20 to abandon coal, as if we don't have enough of an issue at this current time. Finland compares joining NATO to purgatory. Joining NATO is like purgatory. Really? French cops investigated over UCL final tear gassing. Yikes. I don't know if there's going to be anything on this or not. Hang on. Getting news out of, Yep. Here we go. This is, I do believe, ongoing right now. Oh, hell, that's my... No, I'm kidding. Multiple police agencies SWAT team at house where suspect barricaded himself in. Says here shots were fired at police officers and a man is barricaded in a house in Centerville, Illinois, Thursday, authorities tell News 4. Oh, okay, that explains it. Yeah, this is Centerville. Yeah, that's just Thursday. The person who shot at officers barricaded himself in a house near 35th and Trinley, where police... This is a non-story, folks. Trust me, this is a non-story. Where police from East St. Louis, Fairmont City, Caseyville, St. Clair County, and Illinois State Police are actively handling the situation. The area is just south of East St. Louis. So, this is just a Thursday for that area. So, Merkel comments on Russia-Ukraine conflict for the first time. Moscow comments on fate of window to Europe. Ukraine hikes key interest rate to 25%. Three-state solution sought to export Ukrainian grain, says the media. EU countries clash over Waffen-SS memorial. OPEC Plus to boost oil production. Jury gave me my life back, says Johnny Depp. Brazilian frontrunner slams U.S. billions for Ukraine. Woman receives 3D printed ear transplant. Covered that. Frisian Islands challenge North Sea drilling plan. Food giant divest from West Bank. Weapons sent to Ukraine could get into the wrong hands, says Interpol. Rights groups accuse French arms makers of war crimes complicity. Tulsa shooting was not random, authorities reveal. Oh, that was the, probably the other headline that I didn't have up. Sorry. I knew I read it somewhere. Anyway, that's it. That's all the headlines I have for you. I am going to sneak out and relax for the rest of the week. Anyway, I hope you all have a good night. I hope you have a good weekend. God willing, we'll be back Sunday, and I hope to see you then. I'll have a video. I might put it out. It might be put out Sunday, maybe. So, we'll see. Anyway, I will talk to you soon. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit, and shalom.